Richard, I don't know if you caught any of our interview with Todd Day. I know we were talking about it a little this morning. The basketball team's going to be honored. The 1990 Final Four squad honored, I guess, at halftime this upcoming weekend against Missouri. Of course, they've got the number one team in the country. They're playing tonight on the road. Recruiting's been around for a while, and I know Arkansas was dominant in the 90s and late 80s in recruiting-wise. What do you remember about Todd Day? And there might be a recruiting story or two that you could pull from the past that would be fun to listen to this morning.
Well, I mean, really, Coach Richardson's style of play, and being one of the few black coaches really kind of helped him, with some of the African-American players. I mean, and plus he's just a great guy, and he was a father figure to a lot of them, and also he's pretty old school too back then, and you could be old school, but that time frame, Coach Richardson's heyday at Arkansas was just amazing. I don't know if we'll ever see anything like that again. If we do, I mean, obviously it'd be a great run, but I mean that's when it was the Bud Walton Arena was sold out, and then you had I don't know how many hundreds, maybe 1,000 people, most games sitting outside holding up fingers. It was something to really you look back on now, and you realize the greatness of the program back then because of Coach Richardson.
Well, without those teams and without Todd Day, without Lee Mayberry, without that group of players, Oliver Miller, keep going, you don't win the 94 national championship. I mean, those were the table setters.
And they might have been. They probably were a little, maybe if
just say it, they were better. Their teams were better.
If Scotty's listening, I apologize, but they probably were a little better than the national championship team. And man, they were fun to watch. It's just sometimes the best team doesn't always win.
That's right.
And the latter two teams of that Todd Day was on, they were incredible to watch, and they were so dominating, and it's something that if people weren't around back then, it was something you always remember.
What was the year they played Kansas in the Elite Eight? Was that 92? It all runs together at this point.
Man, you got a better memory than I do. But I just remember so many games where they just ran people out of the gym.
Yeah, I mean, Todd talked about that this morning. That was maybe the most disappointing game in his life, and the way they came up short against Kansas. He told a story I'd never heard, that they were looking ahead to Indiana because they wanted Coach Richardson to have a chance to beat Coach Knight, who had been talking some smack about him. And I'd never heard that. He said he's never told the story until he told it this morning here on the show. And I guess I would have been 16, 17 years old, somewhere in there, 15, 16 years old. Back when CNN actually had sports segments and sports shows, Dan Hicks was on there. And I remember, I don't know why I vividly remember this, but they were picking the games. And everybody picked Arkansas, and he says, I'm going to pick this game without the AR, going Kansas instead of Arkansas. And I remember that to this day. And, of course, he was right, and we were all heartbroken. But, it's just I think still that is one that sticks with a lot of people, just like Todd Day talked about this morning on the show.
Yeah. Well, there's always that one loss or two that when a great team doesn't fulfill their what a lot of people perceive as their potential, and at least win it all. I mean, there's always those games, and obviously that's one of them. And I remember, I can imagine what the game would have been like with Indiana, because back then, I mean, he was the general. I'm talking about Bobby Knight. I mean, so-called general.
That was his heyday. That was his heyday. Yeah, in the early 90s.
By some in the media, and he got owed to me. How, I mean, anytime Bobby Knight in Indiana was on, I mean, the commentators and Dickie V especially went overboard, and I think I think obviously the players would have liked to have taken care of that situation, and I know the fans would have liked it too.
Hard to think you would look ahead of Kansas for Indiana, but that's what happened.
And that's what's changed. So he talked about, Todd also talked about Duke a little bit. And by the way, we're talking with Richard Davenport, Whole Hog Sports, Arkansas Democrat-Gazette. And I wanted him, and I should have asked him this, and I was like, do you still hate Leitner? Like, you ran in that 90 squad. Like, you talk about hateable, whether it's Coach K or Bob Knight, but Leitner had to be on that list too, and players and coaches you didn't like either, RD.
Yeah, I didn't. I guess I didn't have the hatred towards Leitner that most people had. I mean, I probably didn't care for him that much, but I usually don't get too hyped about the players because I look at them and think, that hey, they're 18 to 22 years old usually, and you're young and dumb, but coaches that act like kids, that are arrogant and stuff like that. That kind of gets to me more than the players.
Richard, as we circle back to talking about this game tonight, I think it's interesting just on the game notes. I'm reading Arkansas's won 3 games out of 15 all-time against number 1 opponents. You beat Auburn a few years back, Gonzaga, and then Michael Jordan and UNC back in 1984. But how about Cal being 6-6 against number 1 teams all-time? 500. 500. That stat is insane to me, man, that he has gone that 6-6 all time against number 1 teams.
That I didn't know. That is awfully impressive, and it also is a testament to the teams that he's had in the past. I mean, he's always had really good teams and talented teams, so it doesn't shock me totally. But it's still a 6-6 record against number 1 teams, regardless of how talented your teams are. So that'd be pretty sweet for Arkansas fans to see that go to 7-6. But man, it's going to be tough. They play so good. They're playing so good this season, and obviously they've only lost 2 games and lost 1 at home. And if you're an Arkansas guy, if you're a player, man, you look at this as a great opportunity, a challenge, and that the dog ought to come out of you in this game and just give 100% effort throughout the game, and that's what it's going to take, because you got to match their intensity, because their intensity is usually heightened because of the crowd. So you got to try to match that, and then also you hope that they have an off night.
And maybe this is I'm gonna flip it on this side a little bit, look at it a little different. But this isn't a game you talk about matching and going all out on effort, and it's hard to disagree with any of those things when you talk about it in sports. But you can't go all out and then come up a little bit short against Auburn and let that cost you against Missouri. And because the most important game, and I know it sounds weird to say, but the most important thing that must happen this week is win a game. And beating Missouri at home is, to me, far more important, because that's more likely than going all out and emptying the tank to try to beat Auburn on the road. And you said, and to some that probably doesn't set right. But I know at the end of the day, if you win your home games and you go beat South Carolina, you're going to the tournament. And I would hate to empty the tank and let one loss turn into 2. Am I off base, guys, just thinking that way?
Not in my opinion. I think you're being realistic.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I mean, if somehow they could steal one on the road against the number 1 team, that kind of takes care of the situation that you were talking about as far as getting to the tournament. But at the same time, you might have left everything in the tank come Wednesday night against Auburn. But at the same time, at least you're playing in front of your crowd, and that tank's a little bit more refilled a little bit playing in front of your fans. And so, I don't think what you're saying is
well, I was hoping you say I was hoping you say I wasn't making sense. You need to go home and lay down, but Never mind.
I do think I'm now looking at you on the monitor or whatever on Facebook or whatever. Yeah, you look a little tart, and you probably need a day off, buddy.
Yeah, I probably need to go lay down.
He's we're also matching this morning. We incidentally decided to both wear this blue this morning, which I've already gotten a few texts about.
Mine's not as wrinkled as yours, but
it's a company shirt. You should be happy that I'm wearing that. Either way, when I don't understand this, and I don't want to go to like you told me you used to wake up and you don't anymore, but like you woke up at 4:30 and you'd be here at 5:45. And I guess you showered and iron your pants and do all this other stuff. I literally
ironing.
I brush my teeth, throw some water in my hair, and drive to work. I mean, that's and maybe that's the way the difference is in presentation when we look on this live stream each and every morning. Yeah. RD, appreciate it, man. Good stuff. We'll see what happens in the game tonight and the game this weekend. Hopefully, we're talking about a team that's closer to the NCAA tournament a week from today.
Stay warm. Stay warm, my friend.
Yeah, man. Yeah. Go. Hey, you guys can't go out on the road for sales calls. Nobody's probably at work, so might as well just go home and do Zoom or whatever.
Right.
And kind of take it easy, right?
Yeah.
Is that what our sales staff's doing today? So, they're working.
Oh, we're out here busting.
I'm kidding, guys. The gals, I'm kidding.
I'm serious. Richard, enjoy the day.
We'll see you guys.
BetOnline is the world's most trusted betting platform and your number one source for online betting in 2025. Whether you're a seasoned fan or a first-time bettor, BetOnline is your ultimate game day companion. With the largest selection of odds on everything from NBA and college basketball to the NHL and UFC, BetOnline continues to be your number one sports betting source. From every three-pointer to hat trick, BetOnline has you covered with odds, stats, and more for every game, every play, and every win. BetOnline, the game starts here.